Welcome to the Modern Day Cottage. I'm Emily Ryder, and this is my daughter,
Vivian.
Today we're going to show you how to make delicious sourdough pumpkin pie spice French toast. We are going to show you step by step how to make this delicious breakfast treat. To start with our sourdough pumpkin pie spice French toast, we're going to make the bread. Now we're going to add in 2 cups of sourdough starter. Our liquid ingredients first. All right, so up next we're going to add in the melted coconut oil, and we have 1/3 of a cup. We're going to add in 1/3 of a cup of honey and 2 teaspoons of salt. Mix this up until well incorporated. We're going to add in 2 tablespoons of sunflower lecithin, 1 teaspoon of vital wheat gluten. That is totally optional. It just makes the bread a little bit softer. So we're going to mix all this up really good. You can use a stand mixer or you can use a bread machine. Just use your dough setting. You want to add in 1/2 cup of milk that's 110 degrees. I've already warmed that up. We're going to add in 1 egg. You want to mix all this up really good until well incorporated, and then we're going to add our flours and our flaxseed. All right, now we're going to mill up the hard white wheat berries and the hard red wheat berries. Okay, now we're going to grind up the flaxseed. We need 1/2 cup of flaxseed. Grind up. I'm going to use a coffee grinder to do that. All right, so I'm putting the flaxseed in the coffee grinder. Okay, we just need 1/2 cup of this. So we're going to put this in a bowl and then we'll measure out 1/2 cup. If you have any of the flaxseed left over 1/2 cup, put it in the freezer. It will go rancid because it is an oily seed. And that's also why we would not use it in the mock meal or any of our wheat grinders. All right, so we're going to go mix this up. We would love for you to click the subscribe button below, and don't forget to click the bell for notifications when we release new content. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Thank you for watching our video, and thank you for your support. We appreciate each and every one of you. Now we're going to add in the dry ingredients. Ruby, Ann, and I are going to do that. All right, so you want it to have 4 1/2 cups of flour. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 of the white and 1 1/2 of the red wheat. So 2 cups of wheat berries yields 3 cups of flour on the 0 setting on the mock meal. All right, I'm going to stir this in. Then I'm going to have Ruby to do 1 1/2 cups of the hard red wheat. Homemade bread is so easy to make, and it's very economical, and it's Very, very nutritious. And then a half a cup, and then Ruby's gonna get a half a cup of flaxseed. Here you go. All right, we're gonna mix up the ingredients for the sourdough pumpkin pie spice French toast dough because it was really, really hard to mix it up in the bowl, and I had the stand mixer preoccupied. So now it's not preoccupied, so that's what we're gonna do now. So if you have a stand mixer, just go ahead and put all the ingredients into the stand mixer with the paddle mixer until it gets well incorporated, then transfer to the dough hook attachment, and then mix that up. And we're gonna let it mix up for 7 to 10 minutes, doing 2-minute intervals. You can also put this into a bread machine and use the dough cycle. We're gonna put it on the stand mixer, and I'm using the paddle. I'm using the paddle mixer just to get it well mixed up. Okay, it's a little dry, so I'm gonna add a half cup of water to it. I'm gonna start at 1/4 of a cup of water. Okay, once it's mixed up, then you'll want to put the dough hook on. So we're transferring to a dough hook. Okay, all right, so we got the dough hook on. We're going to mix it medium-high speed with the dough hook for 2-minute intervals for 7 to 10 minutes until well kneaded. Alright, so we've mixed up the sourdough pumpkin pie spice dough for our French toast, and we're going to put it in an oiled bowl, let it rest for 30 minutes, and then we will do 4 stretch and folds in 30-minute increments. So that's what we're going to do now, is we're going to take it off the stand mixer. Oh, and you only need to knead this up until it's well incorporated into a solid, until it starts coming away from the bowl. So here is our dough, and this will make two 1-pound loaf, or if you want to make just 1 2-pound loaf. So I'm going to turn it over and let it get oiled up. Then I'm going to take a piece of saran wrap and I'm going to put it over the top and let it set for 30 minutes. Okay, we're going to do a stretch and fold on the sourdough pumpkin pie spiced French toast dough. And we're going to do 4 of these. This is our first one. You may have to, it's because it's whole wheat, and so it makes a very stronger dough. So we're going to do 3 more of these stretch and folds, and then we'll let it ferment for a couple of hours out at room temperature, and then we'll put it in the refrigerator, and in the morning we'll divide it and then bake them in our loaf pans. Okay, the sourdough multigrain bread, sandwich bread, has been done all of its stretch and folds, and we did the bulk rise, and now it is ready to be sectioned into 2 1-pound loaves for our pans. And Ruby is going to butter those while I section the loaves into 2 1-pounds. Alright, so I'm using a kitchen scale. This is a Very good tool. Also a bench cutter.
Okay.
The bench knife to divide your dough. I'm going to turn on the kitchen scale. And I'm going to make sure that they weigh the same. Wait a little. Okay, they're both 682 now. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shape these. Make sure you shape on a clean countertop. And if you want to, you can oil the space that you're shaping. But I find that this dough doesn't stick to the counter. Be careful not to tear it like I just did. You want to shape it kind of in a rectangle shape. And you want to make sure it's the length of the pan when you're shaping it. So just always check. So I'm gonna spread this out a little bit so I can fold it in and then okay, then you'll place it in the pan and then we're gonna cover them. And then we're gonna let them rise until they're at least 1 to 2 inches above the lip of the pan. Once they rise, we're gonna put them in the oven at 350 for 25 to 30 minutes. Once the bread reaches an internal temperature of 210 to 220, your bread is done, if you wanna check it. So we will take these loaves of dough and we will cover them, then we'll cook them. And then once they have cooled, then we're gonna cut them and make them into our sourdough pumpkin pie spice French toast. The bread has risen and we're gonna put it into the oven. But first we're gonna uncover it. And you wanna bake it at 350 for at least 25 to 30 minutes. At least 25, but our oven I think is around 27 minutes. So it just depends on your climate and also your oven. All right, so we're gonna put those into the oven now. We're going to mix up the ingredients to finish off the sourdough pumpkin pie spice French toast. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a cup of milk, a pinch of salt. We're going to use a teaspoon of our signature house pumpkin pie spice seasoning. We're going to use about a teaspoon of maple syrup. We're going to use about a teaspoon of vanilla extract that we just bottled up and made. This is a year old. We're going to use 1 egg. And you want to use 1 egg per 1 cup of milk. If you're making a huge batch of French toast, you can use 2 cups of milk and then 2 eggs. Rivienne is going to whisk this up for us and mix it up until well incorporated. Then we're going to take it over to the stove and we're going to dredge each piece of our sourdough multigrain bread into this mixture that has got the pumpkin pie spice seasoning in it. And we're going to make our sourdough pumpkin pie spiced French toast with this. Alright, so now we're going to make our sourdough pumpkin pie spiced French toast on the stove here. Our pan is medium-high heat. Also, we use a pan for sweets versus a pan for our savories. You can use the same pan you use, but we find it imparts flavors from savory dishes into our sweet dishes, so we like to use 2 separate pans. And how we know the difference between, we bought one with the handles on the side versus just one long handle for our savory. Alright, so I'm going to put in some butter first. And now I'm going to slice the bread. And you want to slice the bread like normal sandwich with bread. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dredge the sourdough bread into the pumpkin pie spice and egg mixture. And you're going to lay them in the pan and get the butter. And you want them to be golden brown on each side, or cook them to however you prefer, but we like them golden brown. Now I'm going to add a little bit of extra pumpkin pie spice seasoning on top of the French toast. So we're going to let them cook and we'll flip them when they're golden brown underneath. This one's ready to flip. That one wasn't quite ready, so I'll put it back over. Those were our first two pieces. I'm using medium-high heat. The thing I love about cast iron is once you turn the heat on, like it holds the heat. So you may not need it on medium-high, depending on your stove. Just try medium first, and then if you need to crank it up a little bit, do that. But like I said, with cast iron, it just keeps increasing and holding that heat. So we've removed them all from the stove, and I'm going to move this off the heat. Okay, so we've got them on the serving platter, and you can sprinkle them with a little bit of sugar mixed with pumpkin pie spice seasoning. So I'm going to do that. You could do it just a little bit. It gives a nice little texture. You can most certainly use powdered sugar and sprinkle over it as well. And I'm going to drizzle a little bit of maple syrup on the top. We're going to try the sourdough pumpkin pie spiced French toast. I'll try another piece. Reminds me of a donut.
It does.
Anyway. Thank you for watching with us today here at the Modern Day Cottage. And as always, we will bring homemade recipes, cottage living, and a cozy home. We'll see you in the next video.